What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Beats and B-Sides family. How's life treating everyone on this beautiful Monday? What up, M Still, man? Thank you for joining, as usual. Yeah, man, I got my wisdom teeth pulled on last Tuesday, and my jaws are like super swollen. So, you know, we are doing a 5-spot interview with my man Cryptic One. And it's a dope interview. We talk about production, kind of his beginnings in production, some of the, joints that he looks for when he's, getting his sample on. It's a really good, really cool interview. What up, Cryptic One in the house, in the hit house. So, he'll be in the house if you got some questions, you know what I'm saying? He's in the chat if you want to ask him anything specifically. But just to preface, me and Cryptic go way back. We've known each other for a long time. Our crews kind of cut our teeth in the underground scene simultaneously, really. Him and Blueprint were kind of kindred spirits, and they got really cool back in the day. And my first trip to New York, I ended up going out there, due to the connection that Print had made with the Adams fam, and connection I ended up making with Aesop when they had come out here to Columbus to perform at a show for us. My Unforeseen Shadows release party, it was the lineup. This was an amazing lineup. Like, you couldn't get this lineup to save your life today. It was Adams fam, all of Adams fam, including Cannibal Ox. This is pre-Covain, okay? So we had Cryptic, Alaska, Wind and Breeze, Chasm, and Cannibal Ox. And we had Aesop Rock, Before Float. So this is all my release party. Aesop Rock, Before Float. And Megahertz performed, as well as Greenhouse and myself. Hell of a release party, hell of a show. Legendary things happened at that show. And so, just a little preface of, me and Crip have known each other for a long time. So it's really cool to be able to get him on the 5-spot. And without further ado, we're going to get into this interview. Like I said, my man Crip is in the chat. So if you got any questions for him, feel free to ask away. Ask away. And so here we go. 5-spot interview, Cryptic One. What's up, everybody? Logic here with another 5-spot interview with my illustrious guest, the world famous Cryptic One.
Hey, what's up, yo? I don't know about world famous, but I'll take it. That work.
Word, man. It's been a long time since I've actually seen you in person. But we are friends. We go way back to the late 90s, early 2000s. I think the first time I came to New York, I met you and well, it wasn't the first time I met you, but the first time I came to New York, we recorded a lot at your crib when you was, I think you was staying at your parents' crib still back then.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, man, those were good times, man. I miss those times, man. Life was a lot simpler, man. We thought it was really complicated, but we had it easy, man. We just had to show up and rap, and that was like life.
Yeah, man, that was a very special time. Very special time. Yeah, man, I remember that attic and just being up there and laying on the floor writing raps and looking through your records and, you know, all that crazy stuff. So today, since you are, you know, a producer extraordinaire, we are going to talk about sampling. You know, I recently started producing. I mean, not recently, probably like 8 years ago or so. But you know, I'm still. Yeah, man. I'm still a baby in the game. No, I feel like I'm still like learning and, you know, growing and still trying to figure all this shit out.
We all are, man. I've been doing it for, I don't even want to say the number because I've been doing it for 30 years and I'm still learning, trying to figure it out, man. You know? Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about sampling on this episode, and I got some questions for you just about your experiences with sampling, and you know, just overall thoughts about it. And so my first question that I ask all my guests is for them to kind of explain, you know, who they are, you know, to the audience. Who are you? You know, and not just I'm Cryptic One, I'm a producer. Just like, who are you for real? Like, you know.
I'm Cryptic One, world famous, apparently. Producer, rapper. I'm from Brooklyn. Well, I'm from New York in general. I was born in Queens, raised mostly in Long Island, lived in Connecticut for a little while, but landed in Brooklyn. I do a lot of things, man, like sometimes too much. I produce or make beats, whatever you want to call it. I rap. I used to run a label and still kind of do, but just for myself now. Video, very big on shooting, editing, color correcting, all of that. I don't know, what else do I do? I do a lot of things. I used to DJ, I collect records. I don't dig as much as I used to, but you can see behind me there are some records there.
Yeah, it looks like you might not need to for a little bit. looks like you're good on the digging for a little bit, you know.
I say that to myself every time that I walk past a record store and can't help but go in and buy something that I don't need. But
of course,
you know, that's just it's an addiction, and there are way worse addictions to have. So, you know, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I'm part of the collective known as Adam's Family, who's not fully like a clique anymore, but still I rep it to death. Adam's Fam to the bone marrow. We made a lot of noise in late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, man, I don't know. What else is there about me?
I guess you have a dog.
Yeah, you hear her? Yeah, I have a dog. Yeah, she's in a special place right now because the missus is gone she's been out of town for three days. So like, I closed the door on her because I don't want her here. So she's letting me know that that's not cool for me to be behind a closed door without her. But,
word. Well, I over the years, just watching your Instagram. This isn't related to sampling, but just the video shit that you've been doing and fucking with the 360 camera and all that shit. Like, yo, man, like it's just fun to watch the videos that you know put up. And when you do the I think it's you do the month, right? The every day, like a second for every day or something.
Yeah. 1 second every day.
Yeah. That shit's dope too. Like there's a lot of shit that you do that I'm just like, how is he doing this shit like this? You know, it just looks really cool. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. The 360 camera, man, that's like that's a love of mine. I've been doing that for like 5 or 6 years, and they're just starting to get popular now. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit ahead of the curve on that. But yeah, man, if you can get one, pick one up. They're mad easy to use, and the shit you can do with them, you've seen. It's crazy. Like it's there's nothing like it. Like I don't know. I think it's the wave of the future once the technology kind of catches up. It's still a little bit like, not to get off on a video tangent, but
it's so good.
Worlds. The footage is a little bit soft compared to like a DSLR. So like when you put the two next to each other, like I can see it. It's jarring for me. Other people don't seem to notice, but like it's jarring. Like, oh shit, this shot is crisp, and then the 360 camera is a little bit fuzzy. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like the things you can do with it, you can't do with anything else. But yeah, that's fun. And the 1 second every day thing, man, you should do it, man. It's not me. Like that's an app.
Oh, word.
It's an app. There's actually a pretty cool TED talk about it. The guy who created the app, like that's I saw he did like 1 second every day for a year. I just watched his whole year and I was like, this shit is crazy. Like I got to figure out how to do it. And then I tried to like edit it myself with Final Cut. And I was like, I'm not doing this shit. It was too much work. And then he came out with the app. It's really easy to use. It costs like $3. My dog is going nuts right now.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, man. Like the 360 camera, like honestly, I wanted to get one, but I didn't want to like shark your steez, but I might I might still get one because I'm sure I'll use it differently than you do.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it. Actually, I'm not trying to try and sell you anything, but I have two, and my old one, it's the older model from like a year and a half ago. I'm trying to sell it. It's just yeah.
Well, we can discuss that off camera. We can make
prices for sure.
Yeah, we can maybe make that happen. Okay, cool. All right. So second question. So what is I don't know if you remember or not, but what is the first like records you remember like sampling yourself?
Ooh, I don't remember. I remember some of the earlier things that I sampled, like the groups. I don't remember specifically, but I do remember the first record that made it click in my head, like what sampling was. And that was, just something I was listening to Red Alert, like back in, it's got to be the 80s, and Jungle Brothers song came on. I got it like that. And I recognized it immediately because my parents had it in their collection. I didn't know what it was, so I just flipped through every record they had and found it. And that was like that first moment of like, oh shit, this is how they make beats.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. But as far as like the first stuff that I sampled, there was a lot of things like Three Dog Night was like a big group for me that I Grand Funk. Mostly stuff that was in my parents' record collection. That's what I tapped into first, and then it expanded to my uncles and my aunts and anyone who would let me touch their records. Went from there.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens for, you hear those stories all the time that, cats' first crate was their parents' crate, Yeah. The first records that I actually got when my grandmother passed away, she had a whole soul collection of her late husbands that she left to me. And like, dude, there's almost every Ray Charles record, like, Superfly, all the classic stuff, Curtis Mayfield, and it was probably like maybe about 50, 60 records. And that was my first, crate. I think there's old pictures on my Instagram where when I first started producing, there's like this tub under my desk, and that's all the records that I had in that tub. The records that my grandmother left me. So yeah, we all got those stories. That's where most producers, like start out, those records from their friends or aunts, uncles, grandmothers, moms, dads.
Yep. And that's the start of the addiction. And next thing you know, you're running out of record shelves and got to buy shelves, and running out of room in your house, got to move.
Right.
There's all sorts of, it's crazy. I wish they took up less space, but I love records, man. I love everything about it. But just looking at the album covers, holding it, like, is something that And no shot against any digital diggers, because I do that sometimes too, but like something special about holding a record, reading it.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Like as I've gotten deeper into it, like I'll just go to the record store sometimes just to, you know, make a wish list of shit that I want. You know what I mean? And, you know, I might hit the dollar bin, but then it's like that $30 record that I don't got the money for right now. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna come back for just to look at it and touch it and just have that in the collection is really dope. I try not to do too much of that $30, you know, digging. Yeah. I'm usually a $3 to $5 man. You know what I'm saying? Well, $1 to $5 man.
Same. I the majority of my collection is dollar bin. Like,
oh yeah,
like easily.
Yeah. And
I've come up with some expensive records in the dollar bin, but that's kind of died a little bit in New York. I'm sure it may still be cool in other places in the country, but here the dollar bins are actually records that you probably don't want. Like a lot of like Christmas records and Elvis. Yeah. Like I'm good.
That's funny as hell. All right, next question. What are some of the weirdest, I guess, artists or records or even sounds that you've like sampled and maybe used that you can recall?
I was heavy into science fiction soundtracks. So I have a lot of weird ones. I have a Doctor Who, like the old school Doctor Who picture disc.
Okay.
And I actually sampled that on an Addams Family song. I've never heard anyone else sample this record. And I don't even know if those sounds exist on like a normal record. It was a picture disc that I got for $1. I saw it later. I saw it go from like $200. So I was like, okay, this is just stashed in the crates. But that I think that's one of the weirdest, just because it's a picture disc. Like that kind of, like, how can you not buy a picture disc for $1? I don't care what the picture is, what the music is, I'm buying it. Like,
right.
But it actually has some really dope sounds. It's literally, and it made me think of the company Flow line, the Doctor Who's sound effects or whatever they say, because it's literally just sound effects on this record, but like all synth stuff, and it's really a dope record. That's probably one of the weirdest ones offhand. Then there's a record, it's called Grass. I don't know if you know it. Like, I sampled it a long time ago. It's like this gatefold thing that's just got weed all over it, like weed paraphernalia. It's from the 70s. And later Madlib sampled it. I forget which record. But yeah, that's another, it's just a cool record. I don't know how weird it is. It's something I'm happy to say I have. Yeah, that's about it. That is weird as it gets, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure I'm missing something. I'll remember in like 5 minutes when we're on the next question. It'll pop in.
Yeah, I try to find weird records, but I also like try to record just random shit just around, because I have a field recorder that I carry around with me, and sometimes I'll just be walking around and just hit record and like get, you know, and go home and listen to it later and not realize like, what is that? Somebody's hollering in the background about something, or, you know, just like weird little like shit that, you know, I would never pick up on a record or never get from a song just walking around my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I try to do that pretty often just to get, you know, unexpected shit, you know? Yeah,
I did do stuff like that. I like, just with my phone, I sampled like a lot of just noises in the subway. And I did make a beat with it. I didn't really like the beat, but you know, but there's definitely something to be said for that. I need to experiment with that a little bit more. I think I was a little more creative back in the days with like sampling a random sound and like making it like a kick drum or a hi-hat or something like that. So I'm glad you said that. It reminds me I should get back to a little more sound design stuff.
Yeah, that's the stuff that, you know, since I still consider myself a baby in this whole thing, like I still experiment a lot, you know what I mean? And I still, like, everything is still kind of fresh and new. And I try my best not to get into a mode. Like sometimes I find myself getting into a mode where it's like, okay, you know, throw a drum break on, find a loop, I made a beat. You know what I mean? And And I mean, and sometimes they turn out really dope that way, you know, sometimes they don't. But I found myself when I was, because I used to, you know, make beats like every night, you know, when I was really getting into it and learning. I would do that every night, and then I found myself getting into a place where I would get like, you know, a little complacent. Just to say I did something because I'm in the studio, you know, I would do stuff like that. So I try to still experiment pretty heavily.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a common thing, or at least for me, it's been like, I'll get into a groove or I'll learn something new, and then like, I'll just keep doing that. And then eventually I get kind of bored with it, and which kind of translates to like the music, I'm bored with the music that I'm making, and then I'll just either blow something up, like when I switched to Ableton, like that was to me like blowing everything up and starting from scratch. And then I had a whole new wave of like learning curve, and then a huge wave of like experimenting and trying new things. And I think it's a really healthy thing to do every once in a while. You don't have to blow everything up and change your process, but like I'm actually going through it a little bit right now. Like we're just kind of felt, everything just kind of felt repetitive. Like, okay, here's a sample, here's a bass line, here are drums, run with that and kind of do it. So I'm in the mode right now on reinventing things for the billionth time, which is why I haven't been posting too much lately. But yeah, I think it's a really healthy process, and I think it's normal for most producers to go through. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just us weirdos, but like I enjoy that process of getting stuck and then like having to figure out what the next thing I'm gonna learn to make things exciting for me again.
Yeah, I've been, and everybody's been telling me like, you should switch to Ableton, because right now I use FL Studio, and I'm like, I'm still learning that, you know what I mean? Like, and just from what I've heard with Ableton, and maybe, you know, maybe it may be different since I'm in the mode of producing. I know it's a different software, but maybe it might not be as big of a learning curve. I don't know, but I've heard, you know, horror stories. I've heard people that, you know, it came to them easy. I heard people that are like, they tried it for months and just couldn't fucking get it and went back to their MPC, you know? So is Ableton like, is like, are you ever going to switch? Are you ever going to use anything else again, you think?
Right now, I'd say no, but I know myself, like eventually I'll switch from Ableton, but I love it. Like it's easily my favorite thing that I've ever used, and I've used a lot of different things. There's something about Ableton that really caters to the user. Like, it's hard to explain. It's just that, like, I felt every other software or hardware I use, I had to figure out my workflow around that. I feel like Ableton can kind of adjust to my workflow. It sounds weird that a software can adjust, but there's so many different ways to do it. And everyone that I speak to who uses Ableton uses it completely differently. And it's kind of fascinating that to see that. It is a bit of a learning curve. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat that shit. It took me a while to like wrap my head around it because it's just so different. But with that said, it's also the same. So like, if you wanted to use it how you're using your old stuff with just like a little sprinkle of the new stuff, you can do that. And that's kind of how I transitioned into it until I was like, no, fuck this, I gotta really learn this shit. And I literally like didn't make anything that I liked for a good like 6 months. And I was kind of like frustrated and struggled with it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a beat every day. That's my thing. Make a beat every day, finish it, whether I like it or not, in Ableton. And you know, a couple weeks in, I was like, oh, now I understand it.
Okay.
I did the thing for like almost a year where I was just watching a lot of YouTube videos and not like making any music, and was frustrated why I wasn't learning anything. I'm watching the videos, but like, I keep telling people who ask me like for tips on production, like, videos are great when you know what you want to do and you want to figure that out. But otherwise, just open the shit and start pressing buttons, man. Like that's the best way to learn, for me at least. I don't know how other people do it, but it's a different age with YouTube. So, and like I was in a YouTube rabbit hole. I watched every Ableton piece of content for months, and it helped, I guess. But at the time, I didn't create at all. I didn't create at all. I was just learning.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to make the move. Like, honestly, I think more for, because I want to eventually start doing live beat sets and things like that. And, that's the software that caters to the live performer as far as, instrumental hip hop, especially. And it's just instrumental music, period. Like, I don't know any live performer that uses a DAW for their performance that uses something other than Ableton.
No. And that is also the original reason why I got into Ableton. It's because I wanted to do beat sets live, and I've done a couple since, and there's no way I could have done that. And I was using Logic before that. It's just not possible. Not even. I don't even understand why Ableton's the only one in that game. Someone should step up.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, because even FL Studio has a performance mode, but it's not geared towards, like, the way that you have the setup alone is super daunting and still super limited. Like, I've tried it, multiple times, and it's like, this can't be, I'm sure there's a better way, and Ableton sounds like it's that way.
It is like the way the thing I'll say about Ableton is that everything that I always wished that I could do with beat making equipment and thought was impossible, Ableton can do. Like, back in the days when you're like, I wish I could time stretch live and tweak a sample live while it still stays in beat. Ableton does that, like, and it's easy. It's just, I think it's the fact that the people who created it and who develop it are actual musicians that make beats or EDM or something in that lane, so they knew what to do. But it's dope, man. Not knocking FL, because I know people who swear by it, and literally shout out to Pinstripe. He refuses to switch to Ableton. He's FL. Like, he's very vocal about, he doesn't hate Ableton, but he's like, everyone's been telling him to switch for like years. He's like really comfortable in FL, and he's dope. So like, why should he switch?
Yeah, I feel that. All right, so let's see. Okay, so you did mention earlier, like, the record that kind of made sampling click for you, that you found in your parents, like, you knew your parents had the record. What'd you say, it was Jungle Brothers?
Yeah. Oh, the record that is sampled was Sly and Family Stone.
Okay.
Yeah. But Jungle Brothers sampled it on. I got it like that. Yep.
Yeah. Are there any other records you can remember where, like, that just kind of blew your mind? Like, you found the sample and you were like, how did they do that with this? You know what I mean? Like, has there ever been any other records that you found on your own that you were digging and you're like, yo, is that, and then you go check the record and you're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had a few of those myself.
Yeah. One that comes to mind, and this is a long time ago, was a Diamond D song. That was his first single. Drawing a blank, but it's a 3 Dog Night sample, and it's not even like he didn't do that much to it, but he took, like, it's not even a full bar loop, it's like a half of a bar loop, and it creates the drums, the bass, but it sounds nothing like that when you play it through. And I was just looking for drum sounds, and I was like, oh, that snare is open, and I sampled the whole bit, and I was like, oh shit, that's the Diamond D shit, isn't it? I pulled out the Diamond D record, and it is exactly, and I was like, hey, there's no way that I would ever think to do that little half bar kick snare that happens to have a piece of a bass line in on the kick. I wouldn't have sampled it because I'm like, damn, they ruined this kick with this bass note, but it
right,
perfectly. That was a big one for me that kind of opened me up into, like, okay, there's some real creativity going on here, and a lot of being a producer is about your ear and what you hear that someone else didn't hear. It's not about records and how rare your records are. Your ear is your best tool, easily.
Yeah, like, for me, one of the things that I've always noticed, even when I found there was something that Premiere had sampled for It was a Jeru song. I can't fucking remember what it is off the top of my head, but it was like the end of the song is fading out and there's like this little tiny sound. And I was playing the record and I was like, hold up. I was like, is that, and I went back and played it, went back and found the Jeru song. And I'm like, holy shit. Like I would have never found, it's like a little, like almost sounds like a bird chirping, you know what I'm saying? And it's like literally maybe 2 seconds long.
Yeah, no, stuff like that is brilliant, especially when it's at the end of the record, because like you'll listen to like the first little bit and it's whack, in a little, it's like next song.
Right.
Like, sometimes I don't have the patience to listen to a whole song if it's not like, if there's nothing good about it, you know what I mean? And like Primo, he's nasty with that. Like he'll clearly listens to the entire record front to back for those little 2 seconds of magic.
Yeah, and like the crazy thing is like the song was fading out when that sound came in. So like it wasn't like it was full strength. It wasn't like it was like, prominent in the mix or anything. Like the song was actually fading out. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And I've noticed that with a lot of producers that it's about their ear and it's about, how they hear things. Because there's certain samples that I've found that Print has used. You know what I mean? And it's like, I wouldn't have necessarily used that. I wouldn't have necessarily picked that out and chopped that up in the way that he did that, because I'm listening differently. You know what I'm saying? The way that the sound hits my eardrums is completely different.
Yep. And I think a lot of it has to do with your history. Like, I don't know about you, but for me, like I'll go through phases. Like I sampled, some choir sample in a way that like it just happened accidentally, those happy accidents. So then I search for samples that have that similar feel. But it just means that I'm listening to records different. Like I maybe find this choir sample, but meanwhile there was like some hi-hat or something that someone else took from the same exact record. That's why I find these, I don't know if you check all these sample challenge things that happen a lot on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're really, really interesting where, everyone gets the same song and to hear no one's beat sounds the same. And that is, if there's ever like someone that needs convincing that sampling is a viable art form, it's music, like show them a sample challenge where like 100 producers use the same exact sample and no one's beat sounds at all like the other. It's a beautiful thing.
Very beautiful thing. All right. So last question, then we're gonna listen to some music. Are there any go-to genres or artists like that like if you are record shopping and you see a record by this person, like like I'm getting that shit just because their name is on it or just because of the genre that it's in? Yeah,
I mean, I'm a bit, my genre thing switches. Like I used to be heavy in psych rock. Right now I'm back in jazz land. But I'm still not digging for like the super rare stuff. I mean, I guess it is kind of rare now, but like Axelrod is clearly like top tier. Anything that has his name on it or any musicians he's even worked with, like I collect all of that stuff. And CTI Records, which is all of these back there right now. I have it in my head that eventually I'm going to own every CTI record. And I looked at the discography and I have a good like 100 or so, but there's like 400 or something crazy like that. I'm never going to get them all. And some of them pretty expensive, but I buy anything CTI, like anything on that label. And there's another label, what's the flutist name? Hubert Laws, I think. His label. He's a flautist. I don't know which proper. And he has a label called Embryo Records. It's really, really, everything on there is fire. Like, and there's not too much of it. I think I have about 10 of them. And I don't think there's too many more, maybe like 20 on the span of the label's life. But that's something I'll never pass. I'll pay $20 for anything on that label that I don't already own.
Wow.
Yeah,
for me, Herbie Mann is one, like, because he's a flautist.
Herbie Mann, it's his label.
It's his label?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Herbie Mann is like, any record I see of his, if I can afford it, you know what I'm saying, I'm picking it up. Like there's some of my, like I think my favorite beat of mine that I've ever made is a Herbie Mann sample. And I mean, he's never steered me wrong. Any record of his that I've found at least 3 to 5 samples, you know, on the record, throughout the record. And I just picked up this I forget the name of the record, but it happened to be a double record for like $2. Man, I haven't even listened to the whole thing yet, because every time I play a song, like every minute of the song, I'm like, I want to sample that. I want to use that. I will use that for some, you know what I mean? It's so good. It's so good.
You should really check out his label. If you ever see anything that it's called Embryo. A lot of them like all white, and like it has like a little cutout, like actual cutout to see the picture behind. Yeah, they're really, really dope. I'll send you like some pictures of them, or you could just Google it. I'm sure like Embryo Records, you'll find the stuff. And everyone out there, you know, it's not. They're not super rare, but they're all really, really dope. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm ready to look into that. Well, yeah, man. Thank you for answering all those questions. Yeah, I think we could talk about production and shit for hours.
Easily.
Yeah, but yeah, so now comes the time you're gonna share something special with us.
Cool. So yeah, I was digging through my stuff and I couldn't decide what to do, so I actually made something today. So
oh shit.
Yeah, this is kind of like, it's going to be a surprise to me too, because I made it earlier and I haven't listened to it since, so I'm hoping that it's good.
That's the best shit. It's fresh off the press.
It's fresh off the press. And on top of that, I actually did use a couple of samples because I almost didn't. So good, it fits the topic. Word. So without further ado, it's just called Beats and B-Sides. Like that's
awesome.
So, here it goes.
That's fucking awesome.
Thank you, man.
Might have to talk to you about that being my theme song or something.
Oh, yeah. It was glorious. Like I literally, like towards the end of it, I was trying to sample you saying beats and B-sides, but it just didn't fit, so it didn't make the cut.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that shit's dope. That shit's super dope. Super dope. Very, very fresh. Do you have any instrumental shit? Like I know you just dropped your Parada record not too long ago, which is super, very, very dope record. And very dope interview also on what's the podcast you were on?
Pick Apart the Passion.
Yeah, Pick Apart the Passion with the homie Dinku. Really good interview, and going through that. But really dope. The Parada record, like I think it's one of your best records that I've heard.
Oh man, appreciate that, man. It's my favorite, but you know how that is. Your latest is always your favorite, you know. So you never. But yeah, the reception's been great, man. I couldn't be happier. It's finally hitting streaming September 3rd. And we got vinyl coming, so I just gotta plug that, you know.
Word, I feel that. You got any instrumental shit you working on? Like any like I know you do the singles every Friday. You haven't done that in a little bit.
No, I taken off August, so they'll be back September, and I'll finish out the year. I just needed like I said, I was going through that where I just kind of felt like I was doing the same thing over and over. People can't tell, but like it just didn't feel right to me. So I was like, all right, I need to take a break and just kind of like learn some stuff. So I've been messing around with playing keys a little bit more and just learning for the past month. But I am next year, I'm gonna do like an actual instrumental album where I take my time, because a lot of stuff I've been doing lately, like on Instagram, the Saturday sketches where I literally like set a timer for 30 minutes and just whatever comes out happens, you know. Like I don't really dig for samples. I dig for samples ahead of time, so I have like a folder, and I'll just, all right, that's a sample I'm using, I don't have a choice, let's go. I have 30 minutes. I'm like, oh shit, I got 10 minutes left, I better finish it up. And that so like doing that is like, if you ever get a chance, like I say that's an excellent exercise to do. Yeah. It's a little crazy, like maybe extend it to an hour. But it's just it helped me a lot. Like number one, I learned my software. I learned all the shortcuts because they help saving time. And number two, it just kind of gets me past that self-conscious, like I don't have time to think. So right. like just trust your instincts, go with the first thing and then move on. And
yeah, you can't worry about if that, you know, that snare is 2 dBs too loud or something.
Exactly. Like, so like you're lost in the music side of it instead of like that, like, oh, like going through 300 snares. Like, no, this snare I'm going with, fuck it, let's go. I wouldn't make beats like that forever, but like it's definitely an exercise that helped me learn, helped me get better, helped me get quicker, and helped me stop overthinking things. Because like I felt that way. Like I made this beat in 30 minutes. I'm like, shit, I gotta post this. Whack ass snare, and then people like it. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, I like a lot of those, like it's like how the fuck did he make this in 30 minutes? Like some of that, because a lot, I mean, even your style has always been like, it felt super layered, and you know, like you really, you know, take time to put things where they're supposed to be. And the fact that, you know, you can still achieve that kind of sound, at least to the listener, you know, in 30 minutes is a fucking miracle.
Shit, thank you, man. Like I'm glad that I'm I feel like I'm fooling people, because like this shit was like, I get stressed out like in those 30 minutes. Don't get me wrong, it's not like easy, but like I try to recreate my sound, but I don't feel like I always nail it. I don't know if you heard that, I accidentally hit my keyboard and
it's all good.
Sound came on. But like, I don't know, I love doing it, but also I dread doing it. I also took a break from doing that just because I want to get back to that more like precise, taking my time, really layer some shit. Damn, there was something I was gonna say along those lines, and yeah, this is what happens when you get old. That shit is just poof. That is gone into the dust. I'll remember that shit tomorrow maybe and be like, damn, I should have said that. Yeah, it's gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate you being here and sharing some joint, sharing a joint, and don't be surprised, y'all, if y'all hear that, you know, regularly as part of the Beats and B-Sides stream. That
sure is meant to do with what you want.
I appreciate that. Well, you have a great rest of your evening. I'm about to go eat some of this barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
Now I can't front. I am a little jealous. I got to go cook something right now, and it's not barbecue.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, you have a great rest of your day. Peace, everybody. Thanks for watching the 5 Spot.
Peace, y'all.
Word. Dope interview with my man Cryptic, man. Yeah, I think we could probably talk about production and beats and samples and record labels and all that shit for probably hours. But yeah, it's super fresh. And, you know, I want to thank him for taking the time. Sidechain gang, you know what I'm saying? Taking the time to join me on the 5 Spot. And just to let y'all know, like, the 5 Spot is going to develop, you know, a lot further. I got a lot of special guests coming up. My man Alaska, I got an interview with him. Got an interview with, you know, a few other people. But I think the Alaska interview is going to be the next one. But next week, we're back to the deep dives. Next week, we are deep diving into first trimester. And I'm going to finish out the deep dives in the next few weeks. And, you know, get that out of the way so we can get back to this Beats and B-Sides, you know, life. If you haven't ordered the Celestial double vinyl, there are about 60 or 70 left. And if you want them, you know what I'm saying? I do have them. Shipping out everybody's that has already pre-ordered in the next, you know, coming days. Shipped a lot of them today, and shipping the rest in the coming days. So you guys should be getting emails and confirmations of the shipping happening. And yeah, so next week, make sure that y'all are front and center for first trimester. We're gonna break that down, break down the lyrics, break down the meaning of that song, and you know, continue to break down Celestial Clockwork. And it's gonna be lit, as the kids say. Also, the Groove tape, my latest beat tape, it is available on Bandcamp. I think it's my best. I think it's my best one so far. And it is preparing me for my instrumental record that I'm going to be dropping next year. Also, the Transition album will be dropping in spring. It's already done and mastered. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of waiting to get past this Celestial situation, and, you know, get into a new year before I hit y'all with some more lyrics. You know what I'm saying? But really, again, I like to thank Cryptic. You know, thank you for joining us in the chat. Everybody that was with us tonight. And until next week, you know what I'm saying? Beats and B-Sides, the 5 Spot. Thank you to Cryptic One. Next week, we deep dive it back into Celestial Clockwork. Beats and B-Sides, Illogic. Peace, y'all. Thank y'all.